What if money was never something to earn, but something to remember? What if the wealth you seek is already yours, waiting for your assumption to awaken it? I remember a time many years ago when I was down to my last few dollars in New York City. My rent was overdue. I had no lectures booked, and the more I looked at the lack, the more it grew. I walked down Fifth Avenue asking myself, how do I get more money? Then something shifted. I didn't ask anymore. I assumed. I imagined the doorman greeting me in a finer building. I heard applause from students after a full auditorium lecture. I saw a letter confirming a payment. I didn't wait for the world to show me anything. I became it inside first. And in a matter of days, checks I'd never expected arrived. A friend I hadn't seen in years offered a paid speaking engagement. The world shifted, but only after I did. That moment, I understood. Money doesn't flow when you need it. It flows when you believe it's already done. Human state of wealth now. The first and greatest realization one must have about wealth is that it does not exist outside of you. It is not an object to chase, nor a destination to reach through toil. It is a state of consciousness, invisible but potent, always available to the one who understands that consciousness is the only reality. To assume the state of wealth now is not to pretend or hope. It is to embody, to enter into the experience of being financially secure before the senses give any such confirmation. This assumption, once firmly accepted and persistently felt, becomes fact. The world, which only mirrors your internal awareness, must obey the self that sees itself as already fulfilled. The senses may insist otherwise. The outer man will cry out in doubt, citing balance sheets, unpaid bills, and obligations. But these are shadows, echoes of prior imaginal acts. They are not evidence of truth, they are residue. The real cause of all financial transformation lies in an internal decision, the moment you accept wealth as your present reality. It is not the effort to gain it that brings riches. It is the silent, calm knowing that it is already yours. The inner declaration of I am wealthy, when assumed without contradiction, carries with it the entire world of outcome. Let the man who desires money forget the question, how will it come? Let him instead dwell in the question, who am I now? If the answer is still shaped by lack, then no matter what effort he exerts, he will remain where he is. But if he shifts within and begins to feel himself in possession of wealth, not merely imagining piles of cash, but experiencing the freedom, security, and joy that accompany financial abundance, then that shift will impress itself upon the subconscious, and the world must adjust. The bridge of incidents will begin to unfold, leading him inevitably to the condition assumed. Redemption is not a ritual. It is not a technique to be done once and forgotten. It is a living state. You must walk, speak, think, and sleep from the place of already being the person you desire to become. The wealthy man does not worry if tomorrow's need will be met. He lives with a calm assurance, a quiet inner abundance. If you are to manifest wealth, you must begin to think from that place. Imagine entering a room and sensing that all your needs are met, that every financial concern is dissolved. Let your body relax into that feeling. Let your words carry the tone of someone who knows no lack. This is how you assume the state of wealth now. Do not concern yourself with appearances. Appearances belong to the past. The law is not concerned with what is visible, but with what is believed. If you believe you are poor, the world will continue to support that belief. But if, in the stillness of your own being, you declare yourself rich, and if you feel that richness to the point where it moves you emotionally, then the world will rearrange itself to match that vibration. This is not fantasy, this is law. Every man is free to choose his inner state. The tragedy is that most wait for proof. They say, I will believe it when I see it. But creation does not work this way. You must see it inwardly before you ever see it outwardly. To assume the state of wealth now is to live by faith, not by sight. Many have tried to use this law only to complain that it does not work. But the law is always working. It works as you, not for you. If you assume for a moment and then return to a state of worry, contradiction enters. Doubt cancels the seed. But persistence, quiet, faithful, unshaken persistence, creates a momentum that cannot be denied. If today you assume the feeling of wealth and tomorrow you reinforce it, and the next day you wake with gratitude as though it were already true, then soon the world will mirror your inner wealth. Circumstances will bow. Unexpected income will appear. Opportunities will be drawn as if by unseen forces. But you will know the truth, that all of it came not from effort, but from the decision to assume. The great secret is that you are already what you seek. You are already rich, but you have placed that identity somewhere in the future. By assuming it now, you collapse the distance. The subconscious mind responds not to time, but to belief. The statement, I am, is creative, eternal, and irreversible. Whatever follows it is set into motion. So say not, I will be rich, but I am rich. And do not merely repeat it. Feel it, accept it, embody it, sit with it. Let it become the natural tone of your being. Let it move you into new thoughts, new speech, and new decisions. Then watch with wonder as the world follows. The state of wealth is not a distant promise. It is a garment waiting to be worn. You do not have to earn it. You only have to identify with it. When the identification is complete and you feel no separation between your desire and your present self, manifestation is inevitable. Wealth is not something you get. It is something you become. And once you have become it inwardly, no force in the universe can keep it from appearing outwardly. You were never meant to struggle to achieve wealth. The idea that money comes only by the sweat of the brow is an illusion born of a world unaware of the power of imagination. Every dollar, every opportunity, every raise, every business breakthrough begins first as a seed, not in the bank, but in the mind. Imagination is the soil of creation, and whatever is planted and felt to be true must be made manifest in the world of facts. That which you hold in consciousness and give life to through feeling becomes the visible. All riches, regardless of form, are simply the outpicturing of inner images nourished by belief. To understand wealth rightly, one must begin not by analyzing the economy or mastering tactics, but by training the inner eye. What do you see when you close your eyes? Do you see bills, burden, fear of loss, or do you see accounts overflowing, your needs met, and an inner stillness that knows no lack? The images you dwell upon in imagination are not idle dreams. They are blueprints. You are the architect, and the structure that follows is drawn from the emotions you consistently bring to those inner seeds. It is not enough to wish for riches. Wishing implies distance and delay. It is not enough to visualize mechanically. Vision without emotion is lifeless. But to imagine with feeling, to truly feel the texture of money in your hand, the gratitude of wealth already received, the confidence of one who has, that is the language of the creative force within. This feeling, when sustained and returned to regularly, becomes an instruction to the subconscious. The subconscious, indifferent to truth or falsehood, only accepts the impression you consistently give it. When the inner movie of wealth becomes more real to you than your current conditions, then the conditions must bend and break to conform. Imagination is not mere fantasy. It is spiritual fact. The world you experience is imagination pushed out. It is not shaped by effort, chance, or opinion. It is shaped by the unseen world of inner assumption. You could look at a man and say he is poor, but that is only the echo of his former beliefs. If today he closes his eyes and reimagines himself as the one he longs to be, and if he persists in that new image, not once, but with unwavering conviction, then in time you will see a different man before you, not because the world changed him, but because he changed the world through his imagination. Man could sit quietly in a room and transform his entire life. He need not move a muscle. If his mind is active with faith and vision, if he rehearses the life of affluence with joy and certainty, then all things necessary to bring that into his world will come. People will play their parts. Unexpected phone calls, invitations, and alignments will occur, and others will marvel, saying he is lucky or well-connected. But the one who knows the truth will smile in silence, for he knows it was imagination that built the bridge. Never allow the present to dominate your creative mind. What you see now is not what will be unless you continue to give it your belief. If you want to experience riches, go into your inner chamber and construct a scene. Perhaps it is you handing over cash freely without worry. Perhaps it is the feeling of buying something luxurious with ease. Perhaps it is simply hearing a friend say, "You always seem to have more than enough." Let this scene replay in your imagination until it feels like memory. Familiar, effortless, natural. Then you will know the seed has taken root. Imagination is the true currency of the spiritual world. Everything you now call real began first as an unseen idea. There is nothing in this world that was not first imagined. The phone you hold, the clothes you wear, the home you live in, all began as thought. And just as others have used this law to create, so may you. The only requirement is that you believe more in the unseen. The imagination is never bound by your current circumstances. Even if you are surrounded by evidence of lack, you can still rise above it by lifting the mind into a new image, a new emotional atmosphere. In doing so, you step into a new future. Do not be discouraged if your imagination feels weak at first. Just as a muscle grows with use, so does this faculty. Begin with small things. Imagine a kind word, a cup of coffee freely given, a compliment. Then move to larger scenes, wealth in all its forms. With practice, the images will grow stronger and your confidence will deepen. In time, you will no longer ask if imagination works, because you will see that it is the only thing that ever did. The world will always offer evidence to keep you small. Bills, delays, setbacks, but within you is a power that can rewrite all of it. That power is your ability to feel what you wish to be true and to persist in that inner state without needing proof. To the world, it will seem magical, but to the awakened, it is law. You are already wealthy, but you must see it first with the eye of imagination. And once you do, and once you feel it so deeply that it becomes your reality, then the riches will appear, not because they were earned, but because they were accepted inwardly as already done. There is a profound mystery, one so simple it escapes those who seek great complexity in life. It is this: you do not get what you want, you get what you assume. You do not receive by hoping or striving, but by entering into the emotional conviction that the thing you desire is already yours. The law that governs all creation does not ask what you wish for. It responds to what you are conscious of being. When a man becomes inwardly aware that he is rich, the outer world begins to mirror that awareness in ways that defy logic. This is the law of assumption, and it is the key to every form of abundance you seek, including the flow of money. Money, like all things, comes to the one who assumes its presence. If you look out at your world and see the absence of wealth and you react to it, you give that absence more power. But if, instead, you withdraw your attention from appearances and place it on the state of already being wealthy, you shift the entire structure of your reality. Your world rearranges itself to support the assumption that you inwardly persist in. You become magnetized to experiences, people, and events that confirm the truth of your inner state. But this happens not by effort or planning, but by faith in the unseen. There is no such thing as chance in a universe governed by assumption. Everything that enters your life, every dollar gained or lost, is a reflection of what you have accepted as true of yourself. The man who assumes that money comes easily to him will begin to encounter situations that validate that belief. The one who assumes that money is scarce, that it is hard-earned, will find evidence to support his view. Both men are right, not because of objective truth, but because they each prove themselves by their assumptions. Assumption is not daydreaming. It is not idle fantasy. It is a deep inner knowing that what you accept as true will inevitably become your experience. When you truly assume something, you no longer question it. You act from it. You speak from it. You make decisions from the standpoint of it already being done, and in doing so, you collapse time. What once seemed far away comes near. What once seemed impossible becomes ordinary. You step out of delay and into fulfillment the moment you fully assume the state you desire. To manifest money through this law, begin by examining what you currently assume about money. Do you believe it is limited, that you must struggle for it, that it requires sacrifice or permission? Then that will be your world. But if you revise your assumption, if you begin to see money as something natural, abundant, and already yours, you will begin to experience it with ease. Let your inner conversations change. Speak inwardly as one who is already financially complete. Hear yourself being congratulated on success. Feel the joy of financial freedom, not as a wish, but as a present reality. This is not a trick. It is the creative process itself. The universe does not give you what you pray for in desperation. It gives you what you accept without resistance. When you become convinced that you are wealthy, even before any evidence shows up, you send out a signal that must be matched. Everything you need flows to the state you occupy. You must be rich in imagination before you are rich in the bank. The outer is always a shadow cast by the inner. Many people fall into the trap of assuming and then undoing that assumption through doubt. They imagine wealth, but the next moment they check their wallet with worry. They affirm abundance, but speak of financial fear. The law does not respond to scattered signals. It responds to consistency. Persist in the assumption even when the senses deny it, especially when they deny it. That is the test. That is the work. To hold to the state of already being rich while your world insists otherwise, that is faith. And that faith, when unshaken, moves mountains. Assume that your needs are already met. Walk as though your account is full. Make choices from that inner security. Say no to things you once accepted in fear, and yes to what aligns with your wealth. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. You are stepping into the identity of the person who no longer struggles, because he no longer assumes struggle. And the world, faithful to its pattern, will bring you the props and players to fulfill your role. There is no need to convince anyone. Do not seek approval or agreement. The law does not require witnesses. It requires feeling. When you feel the truth of your assumption deeply enough, your subconscious accepts it as reality. And once that happens, the matter is finished. You may not know how or when, but the result is certain. Money must come, not because you desired it, but because you assumed it was already yours. In every moment, you are assuming something about yourself. Choose wisely. Choose deliberately. Let your assumption be one of abundance, ease, and endless provision. For what you assume, you become. And what you become, you inevitably express. The greatest temptation one will ever face is to believe in appearances. When the world around you reflects lack, limitation, or delay, the natural impulse is to react, to affirm what is visible rather than what is true. Yet the truth lies not in what you see, but in what you believe. The outer world is only the echo of your past inner states. It is the photograph of former assumptions, crystallized and made visible. To give power to the current appearance of lack is to breathe life back into an old thought that should now be buried. If you wish to change your world, you must learn to ignore what is and instead believe in what is becoming. Every man walks in the shadow of his own beliefs. If he believes money is scarce, even a large sum will soon vanish. If he believes he is undeserving, even good fortune will feel like a burden. But if he changes his inner assumption and begins to see himself as one for whom wealth flows freely, even a small amount will begin to multiply. The shift is not in the bank account, but in the mind that beholds it. You are never reacting to the world, you are always reacting to your inner conversation about the world. To ignore the evidence of lack is not denial of the facts, it is denial of their authority. You must decide that the evidence of the senses is not final. What your eyes show you today is not the truth, but the residue of yesterday's imagination. If today you choose a new vision and persist in it without wavering, tomorrow's facts must change to match it. This is law, yet most will falter because they demand to see before they believe, but belief precedes sight. The one who assumes wealth now, in the absence of any visible sign, is the one who commands the power of creation. He walks by faith, not by appearances, and the world bends to meet him in due time. Consider the man who opens his wallet and finds it nearly empty. What shall he do? Shall he worry? Shall he count his coins and rehearse his fear? Or shall he close his eyes and see a different reality, one where his wallet is full, his account abundant, his needs met before he even asked? If he chooses the latter and truly feels it to be so, then he is planting a new cause. The effect may not arrive in the same hour, but it must come. And when it does, he will not be surprised, for he has already lived it inwardly. The senses are wonderful servants, but terrible masters. They are designed to report, not to rule. When you let them govern your imagination, you are no longer creating, you are repeating. You become trapped in cycles of cause and effect, never rising above what was into what could be. But when you begin to see through the senses, when you use imagination as your guide, then you become free. You are no longer at the mercy of external data. You are the one who writes the data. Learn to say within yourself, that may be what the world shows, but it is not who I am. If the balance is low, let it be a momentary report, not a permanent truth. If the bills are due, acknowledge them without fear, and then return inward to the truth of your being. You are provided for. You are the source. You are one with abundance. Let this inner awareness rise until it becomes the dominant tone of your being. Then, as surely as the sun rises, new means will appear. Unexpected income, forgotten refunds, spontaneous gifts. These are the natural outgrowth of an inner state that refuses to be shaken by appearances. Persistence is the secret. You must persist in your assumption even when all evidence seems to mock it. This is not easy, but it is essential. The world will test your resolve. You will be tempted to lower your vision, to match what is seen rather than what is known. But hold fast. Do not yield. The moment you refuse to believe in the appearance of lack, you weaken its hold. And the longer you hold to the inner image of abundance, the stronger it becomes. A man once told me he imagined wealth for 3 days and nothing changed. I asked him, "What did you do on the 4th day?" He said, "I gave up." Therein lies the lesson. Creation does not respond to fleeting interest. It responds to conviction. When you know that you are wealthy, truly know it, you no longer look for signs. You live as if it were true, and in that living, the truth becomes flesh. Let the world be as it is, but let your inner world be as you choose it to be. You cannot always control circumstances, but you can always control your assumptions. And when your assumptions are stronger than your senses must conform. Do not resist what is, but transcend it, replace it, outgrow it. Ignore the evidence of lack, not with indifference, but with superiority. You know that your imagination is the source of all, and from that source, you call forth what is needed. So if today you find yourself surrounded by limitation, rejoice, for this is your moment to prove the law. Go within, revise the picture, feel the wealth, that is already yours, and let the world catch up. You are not here to chase money. You are here to remember that money already flows through you when you assume the state that makes it so. You have learned that wealth is not achieved through effort but through assumption, that your imagination is not idle fantasy but divine machinery, that the law responds only to your inner knowing, not your outer hoping, and above all, that appearances are lies unless confirmed by your conviction. Right now, in this very moment, you can choose. You can remain as you were, ruled by the senses and limited by the world, or you can rise above into the unseen where all things are finished. You can walk through life with a posture of one who already has, not because you see the money in your hands, but because you've already touched it in your spirit. The flow of money is not waiting to begin. It is only waiting for you to believe. So assume it, feel it, persist in it, and let the rest of the world marvel at how it came to be, while you smile quietly, knowing it was already done.